Welcome to the Al and Jimby podcast, folks. He's Al.
Thanks for introducing me.
He's Al, and
I'm still on the podcast.
he's Al, and
I love being on the podcast.
and I'm Jimby.
Thought your name was
Fuck.
Jim. Oh, we're going nicknames.
That's why I've called you Al.
Well, sometimes people just call me Al and they think that's my name.
People don't call you Al till we started doing this channel. Now they call you Al.
I think
no
people
one
call
ever
me
called me
before that.
Jimby before in my life.
Oh, well, yeah. There you go.
It's new.
That's normal. I'm so sorry. We started off on a horrible note.
Give us a rose and a thorn of your week so far.
Rose of the week. Rose of the week. I got to watch Interstellar.
Great movie.
On 70 millimeter.
I watched it.
I got to watch Interstellar
Yeah.
in 70 millimeter. It was wonderful. I cried for half of the movie. I cried for a lot of the movie. It was wonderful. I loved crying. I'm blowing out the mic. Now I'm too close to the mic. We were testing out mic volume levels, and I was really quiet earlier, but now I seem to be blowing it out. Now it seems to be I'm in the sweet
because
spot.
I changed it.
Now I'm in the
because
sweet
I
spot.
changed the settings.
I know you did good.
Okay.
I'm not mad at you.
No, I just
Yeah,
thought you were
so
taking-
I watched Interstellar on 70, and it was fucking awesome. I hadn't seen it since it first came out in 2014, and it really blew me away emotionally. I just was like crying for a lot of it, which I did not think I was. I did not remember it being that like impactful. But yeah, that was definitely my rose of the week. My thorn of the week was breaking my glasses. That happened at the beginning of, or I guess it was kind of like the end of last week. Anyway, since the last time we did a podcast, my glasses snapped in two.
So walk us through what happened with your glasses.
It wasn't even quirky at all. It was just I was cleaning them like normal with a cloth, and they just snapped in half. They were plastic in the center, and I guess it was cheap.
So what do your glasses look like now?
Now I have contacts.
Well, but what do your glasses look like now?
They're broken. There's tape in the center, and the tape didn't work, so I don't wear them. So now I'm a contact guy. I've been a contact guy for like 5 days. My eyes have adjusted now. I'm getting used to it. My eyes aren't dry anymore. It's pretty good. And now I can wear cool sunglasses that aren't prescription. And I can see the time code for all you motherfuckers who were calling me on the comments last week. I fixed my problems. Can you say the same in your personal lives? What is your rose and thorns? Thorns.
My thorn is that our house has been filled with gigantic loud fans all week.
Yeah, that's been not cool. Our upstairs neighbor's toilet exploded.
And it
leaked
started
through the
raining in our
ceiling.
hallway.
Yeah, our walls were like crying, which was not ideal.
And so they knocked the walls out in our house, and they put big loud fans, and they said, these need to run 24 hours a day until it's dried out, and this is how we're preventing mold.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you go into our apartment right now, and it's just loud as fuck.
Extremely loud. Well, Ryan and you have the worst of it because you guys had fans inside of
Inside
your
of our rooms, yeah, because our rooms were closest to the leak.
Yeah, it's kind
of
it's not easy.
Kind of effed up.
Yeah, and it was
be
so
honest.
bad that all of us were kind of just staying out of the apartment as much as we could. Like I saw 3 movies this week to stay out of the apartment.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's been like going out and doing coffee shop stuff and going to do random shit that they don't normally do. I mean, honestly, in a way, it's kind of made us like productive in different ways. Like we've been doing different weird things in order to get out of the apartment. But yeah, it's also just been super inconvenient because every time you're here, it makes you feel like you're a little crazy because it adds like all this insane noise to your thoughts.
I truly, I keep thinking I'm sick, and then I go outside for 5 minutes, and I literally feel better
normal,
almost instantly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm not sick. I'm just like, my whole body has been dehydrated from sitting in this dry-ass room with all these fans, and I'm taking psychic damage every second that there's like this hum.
Well, because it's not just fans, it's dehumidifiers running.
Right.
So that hallway that's right next to Jim's room, where
Right.
he sleeps at night, is just dry as hell.
Well, and it's
that
like how-
section of the house is like insane right
When
now.
you wake up with a hangover, it's because your body is so dehydrated
Mm-hmm.
from the fucking booze. And so sleeping in a house with all these fans and dehumidifiers, I basically am waking up with a hangover every day, except without the fun part.
Yeah, there's been multiple times this week where Jim just looks at me and he's like, I feel sick. And I'm like, you should go outside and like drink water. He's like, I've been drinking water. And you go outside for 20 minutes, you're like, I'm good.
I feel normal.
Yeah, because it's just, it's like arid in there for you right now.
It's like fucked up in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little desert in the middle of the house. It's bizarre. But the good news is they've been running for four days now, right? Is this the 5th day?
Yeah, and a bunch of guys came in. Well, actually, it was just one guy. He took a bunch of the fans out.
Luckily,
so a lot of the fans are gone now, which is great.
And that's because the walls are now dried. But what we have left is the floors. I guess there's like a vacuum that's trying to do a similar thing.
Something's sucking on the floor right now.
Yeah, so that's still there, but it's a lot less jarring.
It's less intrusive,
now, which is nice. We can actually talk at regular volume levels in the apartment for the first time in almost a week.
Yeah, the amount of times in our apartment lately where someone would be like, and then someone else would be like, what? Because you just like couldn't hear what the fuck they were saying from like across the room.
I kind of want to keep these sunglasses on because I'm worried about scaring the viewers.
With your naked eyes.
With my weird little eyes.
Yeah, Alex got beady eyes without the glasses on.
What do you guys think? Is it scary? Comment. Actually, don't comment. You motherfuckers. Don't comment. Don't say anything. I'm trying to live my best life. What are you texting?
I'm just looking at my phone. I have a list of
prompts. Oh, you're doing
prompts.
What's your prompts?
So I asked GPT, give me 10 great, hilarious discussion topics for two young men to talk about on their podcast this week.
Hilarious.
Okay.
For two young men. That was your prompt.
That was my prompt. And listen, ChatGPT, for as much as I think it's the bane of our existence, well, I assume that Chad is his name.
Oh, okay.
As much as I think that AI is the bane of our human existence right now,
sorry, you know
he cooked up some heat.
You know it's called Chat GPT, but you believe his name is Chad?
I've been calling it Chad GPT ever since we had that sketch idea where we do the Turing test with Churdleys.
And his name is Chad. His real name is Chad.
And his real name is Chad, so it's...
Okay.
It's like you invite me to come over to Churdley's house and you're like, I need you to do the Turing test on this AI.
It's like an Ex Machina parody.
Yeah, and it's like... But the robot's name is Chad GPT, and it's just Churdley's being like...
Turd doctor or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a doctor for turds. And we're all like, no, he's sentient. And then he kills you.
Unusual superpowers. If you could have any bizarre superpower, what would it be? And how would you use it in everyday life?
That's not like a funny prompt. That's just like that's like a thing you would put on your dating app.
Okay. Well, we're the ones that have to make it funny.
I'm just saying that ChatGPT kind of failed there.
We're the ones that make it funny.
Chad's slipping with that one. I would say that's not a funny
topic
for young men.
So are we skipping the prompt?
I say next one.
Okay, we're not going to talk about unusual superpowers.
Okay,
I'm sorry to disappoint.
That's so crazy.
Okay.
What's yours?
I would want to somehow turn my farts for good. I would somehow want to use my farts for good because right now all they do is make the apartment less fun to exist in.
The other day, this is a real story, Jim farted so bad that me and Ryan both left the room.
But what if your farts made money somehow? And that's what my superpower would be.
So if is it like the smell, like the worse it is, the more money you get paid?
No, just like a $100 bill comes out along with the fart.
Okay.
Oh!
That's a decent
Let's
power.
go buy groceries.
Okay, because I guess, it's like a biology power. There would be no real way for your body to be like, okay, this fart is... Well, I don't know, because it could be like a scaling event.
Yep.
Okay, next topic. That was good. That was epic.
Embarrassing childhood stories. Share the most hilariously awkward moments from your childhood that still make you cringe.
You're first.
Oh boy!
Go now.
That still make me cringe.
That still
okay.
make me cringe to this day.
I remember one time I was starting at a new school, and I had been popular from 1st through 3rd grade, and then 4th grade I had to start at a new school, And so I really wanted to like make new friends, but I hadn't really like had to think about how to make new friends yet. So I would do these. There's a few that still stick out to me of just like really embarrassing ways that I thought that I was going to come across like a funny or like cooler guy, and I ended up coming across as like a
dork nerd, bitch.
An even dorkier nerd. Yeah. So like there was one where I, in the middle of class, I slammed my arm onto the table really bad, on purpose, really loud, and it hurt for real. But instead, I started laughing really hard.
Yeah.
And then the fucking girl next to me was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Aww.
And I was like, "I hit my funny bone."
She had like a lisp.
No, I don't know. She just was like a bitch.
She had bitch lisp. Jesus Christ.
But I was like, I hit my funny bone. That's why I'm laughing. And like, I thought that it was like going to be an icebreaker.
And then she just was like, "You suck," actually.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that sucks, man. Are you traumatized, do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm traumatized enough to still remember this story.
That's true.
There was one of my most embarrassing childhood memories. I used to be friends with this kid who sucked. Like, he was like a piece of shit. I've talked to you about this recently, actually.
What was he sucking on?
I learned later that he was like a racist.
Oh.
But at one point, he was just bullying a fat kid during recess, right? And he would be calling him cheeseburger and calling him hamburger, right? And he'd be like, "What did you eat, cheeseburger?" And I felt horrible about it.
That's horrible.
I wanted to step in and do something right. I wanted to step in and comfort this kid. I didn't know the larger gentleman that he was harassing.
Just slapped your bully's nuts.
I should have slapped the bully's nuts, but instead I went the caretaker route, so I went up to the kid who was being bullied. But I didn't know that calling him cheeseburger was part of the bully. I thought that was just what he was called. So I went up to him as he was like upset, and I was like, "What's wrong, cheeseburger?"
You thought his name was Cheeseburger?
I thought it was his nickname.
Oh, damn.
And so later, when my friend got called to the office, I also got called to the office. And of course, my excuse was, I wasn't trying to bully this kid, I'm just stupid. And the principal was like, "I don't buy it."
Damn, that sucks. You got fucked over. Definitely the traumatizing story from my youth that I always think about is when I was in kindergarten, and I had a best friend named Chaz. Chaz, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. We all got stickers one day for some reason. I think they were like star stickers or like bears. I don't know. That's not important. They gave us all stickers for some inane reason, and all the guys in the class were trying to be like cool and funny. And so it's like, one kid puts the sticker on his head and everyone's like, "Whoa!" And then like the next kid puts like a sticker on his stomach, like on his belly button. They're like, "Oh, he's got a belly button." And then, it's like sticker on back. Oh, whoa! It's like everyone's doing their little bit. And so I'm thinking, like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, oh, shit, this is the best one. And I take my sticker and I smack it on the back of Chaz's head onto his hair. And immediately he got horrified, like freaked the fuck out. Because first I hit him in the back of the head with a sticker. I shouldn't have done that. But then he tries to pull the sticker out of the back of his head. And the adhesive, for whatever adhesive was there, just stuck into his hair naturally. And he just started freaking out and screaming. And just like, it was like insane. He was like a little like monkey on the ground, like freaking the fuck out. And then they sent me to the principal's office. And they, I was like terrified. And I came back after I got reprimanded by the principal. And my friend was gone. And I'm like, "Oh, where did Chaz go?" They're like, "Oh, he got taken home early." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Once again, this is my best friend. This was my only friend in class that, like, I actually had, like, a genuine bond with. Not that I was antisocial. Like, I got along with everyone, but he was, like, my special best friend. He never came back to school after that. Months go by. My mom sees his grandmother at the supermarket. My mom would volunteer for, like, reading exercises in class, and so would his grandmother, because his grandmother, like, lived with his family. And she's like, "Oh, you're Chaz's grandma. What happened to Chaz?" And I guess they took him to the hospital because they couldn't get it out of his head. And they shaved his head. And he was so traumatized that he refused to go back to school. So they moved him to a new town.
Oh my God.
To start over, basically, psychologically.
Jesus.
And I never saw him again. And to this day, it haunts me.
Yeah.
I don't know what his last name was, but if by chance this guy ever sees this, I'm sorry.
Wow.
He probably doesn't even remember because it's probably really traumatizing.
Yeah.
But it was fucked up.
You literally slapped someone into a different area code.
Yeah, I slapped a boy into a new dimension of trauma, a traumatized realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to be the bummer of the pod, but
No, I mean, it's a bummer, but also, like, doesn't that make you feel powerful that you literally smacked a kid in a way that changed his life forever?
I don't know if powerful is the right word. It's more so,
Power is the ability to change things around you, and you literally changed his entire life.
So the emotional kind of arc for me there is like, I'm the funniest kid in the room.
Right, because what you did was the funniest thing.
I did this insane thing that no one should have done. But then immediately that shifts into, I feel really guilty because my friend is like freaking out and in pain. And then I get punished and I'm like, I'm a bad kid. And then it's, my friend is gone forever.
Yeah.
It was like a very odd thing to experience at a young age. So no, powerful, I guess brief moment of power because I felt cool for doing something unexpected in a comedic way as a child.
Oh, dude,
but
I mean,
immediate backlash.
I'm talking unintended consequences of your power, though, because you.
Sure. I mean,
when I say power, I mean literally the ability to change someone's entire life.
Well,
in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think I learned in that moment as a kid, like, all actions have like consequences. Like, it was a very like hard lesson. I don't think a lot of people kind of learn how harsh life can become at an early age. But that was my version of that, I guess. It was fucked up, dude.
Yeah, dude.
It is something, I mean, I've thought about that since I was a kid. I think I was like 5.
Yeah.
And I still have like vivid memories of the whole thing. That's how I met my principal, I think. I do remember the funny part about that story to me, that I forgot to tell because I was kind of in it, is it was me. It was like the end of the day. And so it was me. And then there was another kid in the office who was like a 4th grader. And he was a total menace. He was like in the office apparently every day. And he was just like yelling at everyone in the office and like being crazy. And they all knew his name. And they would have to like push him back down into the chair. And then he would like scream at the principal and like spit at her and stuff. And I was just like sitting in the corner like a normal little boy. Just thinking like, me and this kid are the same. I'm at the same level as this
You're in the same
insane
category.
mental patient.
Yeah.
Next topic from GPT, please.
Pet Peeves Olympics. Discuss the weirdest or most amusing pet peeves you or your listeners have.
What?
And rate them in a lighthearted competition.
How would we know the pet peeves of the listeners?
I don't know. Make shit up.
Bad suggestion.
My pet peeve is when ChatGPT asks me some bullshit.
Yeah, I'm anti-ChatGPT, I think.
What's a pet peeve you have? Have you been peeved in a pet way lately?
Have I been peeved in a pet way? What has bugged me recently? I think when those guys were setting up the fans, a pet peeve I had was like, I mean, obviously they had to like work in the space and stuff, but I think they kind of like just go into like automation mode of working, and they weren't really taking into account like how shitty this was for our like space to be changed. I felt like they were very flippant on their attitude. So I guess pet peeve of like people not being aware.
People not being considerate.
Yeah, considerate of other people's feelings, because we were all just like shell shocked that day when they were setting that stuff up. It sucked so bad.
So your pet peeve is when the workers at your house aren't polite enough to you.
Or just be nice. I don't know. It makes me come across
when
like
the
a dick.
Staff
No.
are short with you. Alex's pet
You're
peeve.
painting me like a bad guy. Right
Alex's
now,
pet peeve is when the help doesn't beck at his every call.
Fuck you for that. Whatever. What's your pet peeve, Mr. Arbiter of Justice?
My pet peeve.
I'm gonna break you down for this, by the way.
My pet peeve is when Alex acts like I'm a bad guy for joking around when he's about to probably bust my balls in the same way, and it's fine.
Do your pet peeve.
That is my pet peeve.
That's your real pet peeve? You're mad at me?
Yeah, I'm mad at Alex. Anyway. Our next prompt comes from ChatGPT, who asks, weird food combinations. Experiment with unusual food pairings and rate them while sharing your discoveries. Okay, so this will have to be hypothetical or going back in time to food combinations we've tried. Alex, what's the weirdest food combination you've tried in your life, and what was so weird about it, and how did you like it? Was it successful?
I hate this prompt.
Okay, I'll go. I used to melt cheese on everything in my house as an experiment. This is when I was about 15. I would put Oreo cookie with cheese on it in the microwave till that shit melted, and I would eat that shit.
That's fucked up, dude.
Low key, I remember it tasting fine.
I used to do this thing when I was a kid called, like, homemade trail mix.
Ah!
And we would just put, like, anything that we liked into
jambalaya.
What we would do is, like, we would do, like, popcorn, and then it would be, like, peanuts and, like, goldfish and, like, Cheez-Its.
Sounds tasty to me.
And then we would, like, melt cheese onto it, and, like, it was, like, just a lot of stuff and probably, like, a big waste of food.
Sounds tasty to me.
I don't think we would ever finish eating it. So we would just waste a shitload of food to make this, like, big bowl of crap.
I don't know, man. Hindsight's 20/20, but it sounds tasty to me.
Okay.
Time travel pranks. If you had a time machine for a day, what harmless pranks would you play on historical figures?
I would stop the assassination of Martin Luther King.
Hardly a harmless prank, but surely a good deed. I think they're looking more for, like...
Oh, a prank?
Like putting a bucket of water on Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, to stop his assassination?
No, just like as a goof. Or like if you had Charlie Chaplin and you, like, made him talk. You know?
He talked every day.
You were like, hey, bitch, talk, you know? Or like if you like...
I would let the Russians win the Bay of Pigs.
If you offered Helen Keller a stick of gum that made her go bzzz.
Oh. You just want to electrocute Helen Keller?
As a harmless prank.
A chick who just has no sense of, like, what's happening
So
there.
you tell her aide, hey, ask her if she wants a piece of gum. And she's like... And then you give her the stick of gum, and she goes... Bzzz.
No, what you do is say, Helen, do you want to do the water thing again? She goes, yeah. And then you just electrocute the shit out of her with a live wire. And then she goes, what was that? And you say, that's water. And she's like, what?
Loki, who is your historical figure crush? Like, if you could go back to someone who died before you were ever born, would you marry if you had a time machine?
Before I was born?
And you could marry someone who died before you were even born in their prime. Who would you go use a time machine to marry? Alex is really into goth chicks, so I bet he'd go for the chick who wrote Frankenstein. Am I right, bro?
Oh, Mary Shelley?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go for that. I don't know what she looked like, though. I'm sure her soul would bond with me, though. I would bond with that chick's soul for sure.
Oh, yeah, she's your type.
Let me see. Oh, she's pretty. But she's only in
She's got big eyes.
Huh?
She's got big eyes, so she looks pretty sad all the time.
There's no photos of her, I guess. Just too old.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
I would definitely do Marilyn Monroe, though.
You would do that, you fucking cheap bitch.
Yeah, I would.
You cheap, shallow bitch.
I would treat her with the respect she deserved, you know what I mean? I would be like, hey, this is a safe, you know, like, I'd be like, hey, we don't even have to have sex. You know what I mean? Like, we'll take it slow, because I know people have, like, objectified you in your life, you know what I mean?
That's true.
I'd be like such a great guy to her, dude.
Yeah, you'd be awesome for sure.
I'd be like such a great, like, dude, like.
That's what everyone's always saying about Jim, is he's such a good guy and that he just hasn't met the right woman.
Guys are so horrible all the time.
Yeah, guys are so awful all the time, and Jim knows that more than most people because he's a horrible guy. He's the one inflicting all the abuse. He's like gaslighting women. He's calling women bitches on podcasts. He called a little girl a bitch earlier, and he's like, "Why don't chicks like me?"
Anyway.
You know who I would date? I would date FDR.
I would date FDR before polio and make sure he couldn't walk for a different reason. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking his ass,
My
yeah.
dick, bro.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
AI comedians. Imagine if artificial intelligence developed a sense of humor. If you were in charge of programming the comedy AI, what jokes would you program into it?
Sorry, I just want to address while you were doing that, I just, I felt a weird shiver down my spine, like there's a ghost out here. Like, I literally went like, I don't know if that's just epilepsy, like a epilepsy underneath my skin.
Yeah, I think you just have Parkinson.
Or, there's a ghost on this balcony that we should address. What do you want, ghost?
We almost watched Ghost the other day. We got about 5 minutes in and we were like, this movie's really horny. I was like, Alex,
well, we were going to watch Team America.
Is this movie
That's
horny?
Why we stopped it. I would have watched all of Ghost if we didn't plan on watching Team in America.
We watched Team America this week and it's really good. I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, really
it's
fun
really,
movie.
really fun.
Sorry, someone's being taken to the ER.
Team America is like almost a perfect satire. I think that some of the race stuff hasn't held up. I don't think
What
that
do you
it's. I think that a lot of the racist jokes in that movie don't come across as like satirical like the rest of it is. They come across as just kind of being racist.
Oh, the Durka stuff?
And like the accent of Kim Jong Il and stuff like.
I guess so. I mean, I feel like
I get that they're trying to be satirical, so I'm not like condemning the movie. I just think it comes across a little hacky in hindsight.
To each their own, I guess. I don't. It feels so absurd because Kim Jong Il.
It's Kim Jong Il in the movie.
Is
yeah.
such a horrible person that I don't care if anyone makes fun of his accent at all.
But his accent is something he shares with a lot of people that aren't horrible, right? So making fun of the accent does come across as like just cheap to me. And even if it's not offensive, it's still cheap. It's still easy, and so it just isn't as biting as the rest of the movie.
Sure.
And that actually takes us right to what the prompt was, which is, imagine if AI developed a sense of humor, how would you program the comedy AI? I would certainly program it to not be like, punching down or hacky.
I'd program it to only punch down and be hacky so we don't have to compete with AI.
Oh, you would program it to be bad?
I'd program it purposely to be bad so we wouldn't have to compete with it because AI, all it has to do is you have to click a button and then it replaces people's brains. So I would say, hey, you should suck at comedy forever.
Yeah.
And then just cut off that source.
Hypothetically, though, if you were to try to make it good, like if it was a tool that only you had or something, like I'm thinking you would teach it to be unexpected. Like what? How do you teach comedy? How do you do comedy? How do you boil it down? Is what I think is interesting about the question.
I don't know. It's a robot. I don't think you can really teach robots how to be actually funny. They'll be funny in like a quippy, like quirked up way. Because I don't know. Unless you can make a robot into feeling like a human, I don't think it'll ever be genuinely funny to me. It
True.
might be ironically funny, like, oh, ain't that cute that robots be doing Marvel humor? Like, I don't know. It could do, what is it, glib?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can do glib shit. And that can be amusing. I'm not immune to it. But, yeah. I don't think until a robot knows how to, like, feel air on its skin,
Right.
it's gonna ever be funny to me. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, relatability is such a huge part of what makes stuff funny, and just like being related to some form of lived experience.
Yeah, being aware of like life and death and
having it be grounded and true to our condition, right?
Yeah, human experience. Not.
I mean,
and I'm not saying that you need to like, some comedians are like, comedians should suffer or whatever. I don't think that's true. I just think you have to. I don't know if that's true.
I think when I meet comedians, we're out in LA right now. You meet a lot of comedians that are really privileged, that are pursuing this because they can and they don't have to work. And I feel like they are actually like markedly worse in a way that the pattern is so noticeable that I'm like, yes, the comedians I know that have had to suffer or have been broke or whatever,
I agree,
are better. Period.
That's
like,
not what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I agree with you there. I think that people should live a life. And I think that failure and suffering is like failure. Yeah. I think that creates good art. But what I'm saying is that I don't think that an artist should innately have to suffer their whole life in order to produce art and comedy.
And with that being said, we're going to be producing a whole other half hour of podcast for the Patreon. But for now, this is the end of our public portion. We're gonna go through a bunch of tests. We got some funny jokes coming down the pipe. Check out the Patreon in the description. You can give as little as $2 a month to be a part. And thank you so much. And goodbye.
C'est la vie.